Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. There's a lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you. I know that life outside is so hard. There's a lot of things that can tear you apart. I know the roads sometimes feel lonely, but remember you're not the one and only. There's always someone there to help you, a helping hand to pull you through. There's only one thing you should do: take my hand and join the Love and Life crew. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then they love it alive.
Koinant! Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and welcome to tonight's live stream. And it's an absolute pleasure to have one of the leaders of Boerelegioen joining us. But before he does, there's a little video clip I want to play you. And this is totally unrelated to Gavin Scrooby, but it shows you what's going on in South Africa under the ANC government. Now, the video I'm going to show you is put out by South African Tourism yesterday as their featured video. It is the first video that they've put up on YouTube in over 2 years, and it is a political statement, not one related to tourism. The Minister of Tourism is currently facing court action over the race-based allocation of funding relief as a result of the lockdown. Now, let me just show you that video. It's quite extraordinary. Here we go.
You sacrificed a lot. You sacrificed hugs and kisses and handshakes. You gave up your weddings. You gave up travel. You gave up your favorite places and even your most peaceful spaces. You gave up your places of worship, the dignity of burial. You even sacrificed your livelihood. Jobs and businesses you poured your lives into were with you. Above all else, you even sacrificed something so many South Africans who came before us rose, stood, struggled, and sacrificed for: freedom. And just as those who fought for those freedoms had to endure for the greater good, we too must endure today. Nikondere, fast feet. Your sacrifices will not be in vain if we all take this time to plan. To consider who we want to be when we come out of this. Consider how we will step up, step in, step forward. And so, in our rush to return back to normal, perhaps we ought to take this time to appreciate, to consider all the wonderful things worth rushing back to.
A message from South African Tourism, the Nelson Mandela Foundation, and Video Vision Entertainment.
Okay, I just have one question. What the heck has that got to do with tourism? That's on their official YouTube channel. As I say, it's the first video that they've put up in over 2 years. It's a highly political statement. Anyway, let's get back to our guest. Gavin Scrooby, as I said, he's a very senior member of Boerelegioen. And as we know, just a couple of days ago, General Isaac van Zyl had a heart attack, and we'll be talking about that tonight as well. All right, let's get the show on the road, shall we? Hi, Gavin.
Hi there, how are you?
Excellent, thank you, excellent.
Good, man.
Can you turn down that noise in the background?
There's it, it's done.
Okay, fantastic. Right, there you are. Perfect. Now,
Awesome.
Gavin, we'll get on to the situation behind yourself and your work in a moment. But before we do, and I'm talking about Boerelegioen as well. But before we do, can we first get a bit of your background, growing up in South Africa pre-1994 and then post-1994? Give us your background as a child growing up in South Africa, and then what you did as you grew up.
Scott, look, I grew up in Natal. I was born on a bluff. And my dad at that time had a massive earth-moving business called Depot Earthworks. A lot of people in Natal and South Africa used to know about it. And we grew up basically with the Zulu nation, because we were surrounded by them. Later in 75, we moved up to Johannesburg, which is now Gauteng. In 1985, I joined the South African Defence Force, and this is where my medical career actually started.
Right.
Look, in those days, it was carefree days. Eh? I mean, we walked around, we done as we pleased. It was a safe haven for any African or any person that came to stay in this country. If you were here or just visiting or on holiday or whatever the case may be, we were unaware, as a child, we were unaware with all the apartheid problems and that sort of thing that we had. I think it became very realistic when we came into the military side of everything, because you must remember, I've done 20 years service to the South African Defence Force, and I just happened to be 10 years service for the old regime and 10 years service for the new regime.
Right.
So yes, when we went over to the new regime, although in the old regime, if I can put it this way, with the riots and all that sort of stuff, I didn't have much to do that. I was more based in Angola and Southwest Africa and that sort of thing. And that's where I done most of my time until the United Nations came in. What was very difficult for me, what a difficult period of time was after '94, after the elections. I could see things starting to deteriorate from there. And the more we spoke about it, the more it fell on deaf ears. You know, we all had this thing that Mandela would come in and we were all part of this Rainbow Nation thing and
Right.
bygones and that sort of stuff. And believe me, at the end of the day, it just blew up. What actually happened was we had this reverse racism that actually came in. And the more I look at it today, and I apologize to some of the viewers what I'm going to say now, if you look at this whole thing now, and Cyril Ramaphosa now just openly admitted they for this New World Order thing now that's happening. So
Right.
if you look and see what's happening in South Africa at the moment, and I think it's happening slowly creeping in the rest of the world as well. But South Africa is a soft target at the moment, if I can put it that way. So what we found is they're trying to suppress everybody. Even the black people that we've got in this country, they are getting food stamps, if you want to put it that way, or coupons. They're getting food delivered to them. But look, there's a lot of them that aren't getting it. And this is becoming a problem, because how do you feed a nation on, let's say, 1,000 rand per packet? And we've got how many million staying here? 60 million? I mean, our coffers can't last that long.
And the country is bankrupt.
Oh yeah, I mean, South African Airways, I mean,
Yeah.
used to be one of South Africa's sort of like pride.
Talking about food,
that's-
talking about food, did you see that video of that queue of people 2.5 miles long at Centurion, Pretoria, waiting for food from the gift of the givers, not even the ANC government?
Correct. I actually saw that today. I think they flew over it with one of the drones,
Yeah.
or whoever was taking footage. Man, and that's just Centurion. We are busy with people, Ventus Post, you were talking about them not so long ago. We're busy with them as well. We actually came in there to try and restore order, because we have a mandate from Randfontein Police Station to actually assist them as Executive Technic Group. And when we went in, we managed to restore some of the calm and to see what was actually happening there. And look, let me tell you something. I just don't want to sound too politically incorrect, Scott, but I think we all know where we're going with this at the end of the day.
Just speak your mind.
I am, if we look, there's suffering on both sides.
Yeah.
Okay. But I can tell you one thing. The poor whites that are out there now at the moment are really bearing the brunt of things at the moment, where they are totally excluded from a lot of things. You have white organizations going there donating food and that. I mean, we're riding in a couple of bucket loads full of food now as we get, and that's worthwhile taking in. Sorry, Scott, I just don't like what he's talking about what we're giving, because, you know, I've always believed what you give with the left hand, you mustn't let the right hand know what's happening. And we're not trying to make a big political thing out of this whole thing. We do it out of the good of our heart, and we do what we can. I think this is why most of us are in the predicament that we've got. If I've got a loaf of bread, I'll cut it in half and give you half if you're going without. You know, that's how we are here.
Yeah.
And we're a prideful nation. We are a giving nation. You know what I mean? So we try our best, and but I find this totally unfair and unjust what they are actually doing to us today. It is actually, they're trying to suppress us down so that they are, it's coming towards, if I can put it this way, the haves and the have-nots. And you're bound down to the have-nots. And unfortunately, I can tell you from our point of view, it's not going to happen in this country. We're going to fight it back. Be what it way, but we'd like them to cast the first stone. Because if we cast the first stone, I can guarantee you.
What is that tipping point, Gavin? When do we reach that tipping point that people start saying enough's enough and they're gutful?
Scott, I can be honest with you and say to you it's happening now. My ears are on the ground. I don't just sit in my surgery all day and just, I hear what people are saying inside. I'm outside with my people. Be it with training or be with it whatever. But I hear it every day, that even the poor of poor are now deciding, even the black community are turning around saying to me, can we not do something? I said, what would you like us to do? Go and kick him out of Parliament. Go and kick the ANC out. Go and do this. Go and do that. I said, yeah. There's a right time and a right place for everything. We just got to be cool, calm, and collective. The time will come. But I can see it starting to happen now. If you take away the military and the police are treating their own people. And the military and police have got a hatred for their own people now, how they are treated within the townships. And vice versa. There's this tension build. It's becoming a pressure cooker at the moment.
Okay.
And our government is too thick-headed to actually see it.
Yeah, there are two things I want to ask you. One is, do you think that the police have lost control in the townships? And if so, there's obviously going to be anarchy. And secondly, do you think that the looting that we're seeing now in shops around South Africa is going to escalate to a point where that in itself is going to cause some kind of civil war?
Scott, it's very difficult to say where it's going to go. I'll give you my synopsis of everything, and you can take it with a pinch of salt. Look, the cops have lost the plot long time ago. I mean, if you look at just some of the footage, actual footage that's taken in the townships, the cops are sitting one side. There's about 20 or 30 cops. And you've got this mass of about, 4,000 of them. What can they actually do? There's very little that they actually can do, because they'll get stoned, they'll get petrol bombed, they'll get thrown out of their vehicles will be set on light. I mean, I'm not inflating the thing. I think if you just look on YouTube and see what's happening, within the townships, you can see it for yourself. The cops are powerless. The cops are basically ended up being a guard dog, a guard Alsatian or a guard Rottweiler at the end of the day without any teeth. Now, I'm not saying it's because there are bad cops. Yes, there is a few rotten apples within them, but the majority that I know of are very dedicated. But they are powerless at the moment. This is why they brought the military. Now, how much the military can do, I don't know, because, from past experiences in when I was involved with the military, when the military was called in, the normal state law, if you want to put it that way, was finished. Military law took over. You went in, done what you had to do, restored the calmness, and then withdrew and gave back to the South African police force. And that's what I think where the problem came in.
Well, can I just
force, now police services.
Can I just mention that I had Ian Cameron, who's the safety and security guy from AfriForum, on my live stream just a couple of nights ago. And we raised the issue of the South African Army. And he said he is aware that they only have the logistical ability to actually support 3,000 troops actually out being deployed. They can't do the full 70,000. Basically, he's saying that the actual size of the army in South Africa is 3,000 people, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. We put up plus the citizens force, which has been brought in as well. If you look at it, I can guarantee you see the military walking around the townships in support of the SAP, and I can practically guarantee you they've got magazines on their rifles, but there's not one round in those magazines.
Right.
I just want to take your memory back to a couple of years ago when I think they went into Swaziland. And during that time, they had their butt kicked so seriously, it just wasn't true. And you know what? Now that was what are we talking about? 10, 20,000 people that was in Swaziland. Yeah. Now you're talking about Soweto, which is a couple of million. What are they going to do? Are they going to open fire on the people? I mean, I seriously don't see that happening in this country, to be honest. Not black on black. Definitely not. I mean, there'll be such an outcry in the rest of the world, it just won't be true. But on the other hand, let's look at this thing from a different perspective. If we had to look at what's happening at the moment and how they're policing within the township, fine, they are looting shops within the township and within the close little towns around it, but aren't they preventing the people from getting out of the townships as well to coming to the other places to loot? These are the type of things that we must start asking ourselves and be realistic about it. So, we are prepared from our side. And this is where the alliance come in with the different organizations in Southern Africa, which I'm part and parcel of, and been made the Surgeon General of them. And Boerelegioen being one of them as well, and BFN and a lot of the other groups, the wolves. But you know, we got to look at all this thing holistically at the end of the day and see what's actually happening. You remember, this COVID-19 thing, the truth is going to start sticking its head out. I don't want to get involved with that now because this is a discussion that can take us all night. But I can see a lot happening within South Africa now since this lockdown has happened.
Right.
And to me, it's just a big thing of trying to suppress the people to, in a way, to be able to push a political agenda further.
Well,
and basically, it's going to come, if you don't vote for us for the next voting, where is your next plate of food going to come from? You know, it's not just handing out a T-shirt and the vote anymore.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot has changed. A lot has changed. The whole scenario, the whole ball game has changed.
Yeah. Well, the last couple of days in Pretoria, there's been a huge amount of looting. And I think one of the macro stores was looted in Pretoria. And not only that, but what the township people are doing, or from these informal camps, what they're doing is actually surrounding people who are going into shopping malls and demanding money from them. And they're demanding food from them. And this is not happening today and yesterday in Pretoria, and it's getting worse.
It is. It's you know, hunger drives you to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been in the military. We used to live on rats. Well, sometimes the rats used to be late with delivery. And I mean, we were out in the bush for weeks at a time. And listen, when you start getting hungry, you go over to survival mode. I mean, you start eating snakes and rabbits and whatever you have to do to survive. Now, in this case, they've eaten all the snakes and rabbits that's in the township. Now, they're going outside now to try and find what they can. Hunger will drive you to anything. I mean, how do you come home, look at your kid in the face, and they're looking at you saying, Dad, where are we getting our next plate of, our next meal?
Right.
As the head of the family, you're going to go out and do what you have to do. And
Exactly.
this is where what I say is the pressure cooker, the bottleneck and everything that's coming. This government has got a big surprise coming for it, and it doesn't realize what it's doing. They think they're sitting up top there, they're all high and mighty. But let me tell you something, that little empire of theirs is about to come down, crashing down very, very soon.
Right.
I'm telling you now, it's going to be their own people that's going to do it.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking too.
And
They've
going to spill over.
They've had enough of the ANC. Now, just for the record, I see Isaac van Zyl is actually with us tonight. He's in the side chat. Good to see you here, Isaac, and please get well soon. And maybe we'll get Isaac to join us on the live stream a bit later, if that's okay with you, Gavin.
That'll be superb. No, he is well enough to do that. In fact, I've just got the thumbs up from Marinda at the moment to say that's fine. We can discuss certain things about General Isak. And yeah.
Right. Well, look.
It'll be quite nice to have him on with us.
Isaac, are you well enough to come and join us on the live stream? I can just Skype you and get you into the discussion. I don't want to, get you all stressed out and stuff. I'm just waiting for Isaac to say. Okay, he's. I think I think he'll probably join us, but I'm just waiting for confirmation. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, you're basically stating the obvious, and that is that things are just going to keep on getting worse in South Africa. What should people who are watching this live stream now, who are living in South Africa, be doing to safeguard themselves and their families?
Scott, can I just quickly, briefly, just explain where executive TACMED comes in, and then I think we'll be able to fill all the little holes.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've looked at all these organizations, all the Boerelegioen organizations, and I've been part and parcel. Well, as you know, I used to be with the Boerelegioen as a Surgeon General, and then I established the Executive TACMED Group, which does specialized training for in the medical field, besides just tactical training and that sort of stuff. We get the people in, we train them, and we push them out. Basically, what we're trying to do is equip our people with the tools of the medical field in the case of if we did go to war.
Right.
You must understand, if we did go to war tomorrow, if something broke out tomorrow, or what's happening now at the moment, where there's so many doctors here in South Africa is prepared to offer the assistance, but they'll rather bring in 200 Cuban doctors and pay, 400 billion for whatever the case may be. Should we go like we are now in lockdown and we get attacked? Now, when I mean I get attacked, I don't mean it's white and black. These guys want to come jump over the wall. They want the food that's in your store. I'm just creating a scenario.
Right.
How are you going to overcome that? How are you going to defend your place? Now, let's be honest with each other. If you 3 or 5 in a household and 1,000 of them jump over the wall or push your wall flat, the best thing is to hightail it out the back. But you've got to be able to look after your family. So I would say, stock up of the essentials that you need and keep it well stashed. And take out as one on what you need, when and whenever needed. But also brush up on your medical knowledge, because remember, most of the hospitals are closed now due to visitors and that, because they've got COVID-19 and that sort of stuff. And most of the beds are going to be taken up.
Right.
We still haven't hit the epicenter of this thing yet. This is still coming. Now, what are you going to do now if you get hurt? Where do you go now to get treated? Your doctor's not going to be there. The hospital that you know is not going to be there. What are you going to do? We're trying to give you the skills and the tools to be able to overcome that and be able to keep somebody alive until such time that you can get somebody to a higher standard of medical knowledge or whatever the case may be, or more critical care or whatever. And this is where we fit in at the end of the day, to try and give the people and equip them with what they need. And so far, it's been doing very well.
There's so many coincidences that happen in this channel. And I've just in the last week been talking to, wouldn't they be the perfect people to participate in the program you're talking in, because they could train people all over the country?
Scott, yes, they will. You know, any doctor that's trained today, Healthcare Professionals Council is very one-sided as well, but there again, who's controlling it?
Right.
It's the same hand that's ruling this country. But that's my argument point. These 200 Cuban doctors that's come in, where are they getting? How can they just work as general practitioners in this country?
It's crazy.
You can't just do that. I mean, they're not. They first of all, they're in quarantine for 14 days. And when are they going to? When they come out, are they going to do bridging exams and that sort of stuff to see that they're competent enough to be able to work on our people?
Well,
let's see what happens.
From what I gather, they are incompetent. They're still in training, where you've got qualified South Africans who can't practice. You know, the double standards is just absolutely ridiculous. I'm actually, just so people in the side chat know, I'm actually talking to a few of them right now, because they've actually embraced me. All these doctors, and we're looking at having another live stream with a few of them on, talking about their stories and, you know, where they studied and how the HPCSA is just causing so much shit for them. But that'll happen another day. Okay, so getting back to the situation with the people watching, and if they get injured, you're talking about you've got some kind of a training course that they can go on to learn a bit about the basics about medicine. Is that correct?
Correct. Look, you must understand, most of us are all ex-veterans.
Right.
All the instructors that's with us. I myself had the privilege, and a lot of us with us, that we were private military operators with it, either be with the British or with, I don't want to mention names tonight now, with the American forces in Iraq, Afghanistan. I personally was in Iraq, I was in Somalia, Burundi.
Right.
Those were my sort of areas where we covered with as a PMO. But the beauty about this whole thing is I actually picked up, as a third world country in South Africa, picked up a lot of the first world stuff that was working. And I must say, yeah, we are part and parcel of some of the stuff that we helped perfect with the knowledge during our Bush War. And, you know, you'll be surprised what you can do. We've taken people through level 1, 2, and 3, but we teach you outside. I'm not worried about the South African law or HPC or whatever the case may be. I'm teaching people, what do you do in the time of crisis, where all laws fallen away? That's your level entry, sort of like level 1, 2, and 3, which we take it, which you called your field military care. And then we've got our TC3 courses, which is your much more higher sort of courses, and your TMCCs and that sort of stuff, which you take the people through. That puts us an equivalent to, if the people from South Africa are listening and has been in the military, that gives you more your old ops medic or your operational emergency care practitioners that we used to have in our day. And giving you example, why it's crucial to bring new technology in. This is one of the reasons why South Africa is failing with the United Nations now, especially medically wise, because our medical practices are so far outdated.
Right.
So we bring this new curriculum in now, which empowers you to do a hell of a lot more. It's got this. So, and believe me, this stuff is worked over and over. I've got the stats in front of me. You can't, worldwide stats, and believe me, this stuff is working. And I mean, Germany is at the front runner with a lot of these things as well now at the moment. It's been a fantastic working with them as well. Because they're so far advanced with medical technology and stuff like that. And this stuff we brought all back. We put it into a book form, and we're running it now at the moment. And hopefully soon we will have United Nations blessing on the actual training facility that we've put up. But that's going to take a while now, especially with the way things are going now. And I think WHO is World Health Organization's got a lot of limelight on them now, for not reacting fast enough.
Right.
So yeah, but you can understand why they didn't run fast enough. I mean, if you take who's the head of WHO at the moment, he's not even a doctor, man. He's he was some foreign secretary to Somalia, and Somalia is right up Chinese's butt at the end of the day. So our South African is becoming more Chinese than what they are, black and white at the moment. So yeah, that's another challenge to have a look at, but that's a discussion for another day as well.
Yeah, just for a second, we got about 600 people watching at the moment, which is great. I'm going to ask you if you can give us contact information for that course. If people watching here want to actually go on this medical course or get the training, how do they apply? Do they go to the Boerelegioen website? Do they phone somewhere? What's the process?
Well, I know I'm sure if they went to the Boerelegioen site, they'll be able to get through to us as well, because they're quite competent at putting people through, or they can contact me directly at gavin@dnamedicalgroup.co.za.
Right.
And I'll put them in contact with the training information, and with one of our generals that we got set up there now in our training, which is Percy Bauer, and or they can go through admin, which will be Cecilia, or they can chat to Chris Lessing as well. So that's all our top management at the moment. So then we'll be able to help them wherever they need to go. I can also give you my cell phone number that you can put up as well. They're more than welcome to phone us.
Right.
But it's doing very well, and there's a bit of a waiting list now at the moment. So it's a little bit crunched up now with this lockdown. But in the interim, I can have the book sent off to the people, and they can start studying. So, and then we can Skype each other, and if they got problems, and we can assist them there until Systema's lockdown is over, and then we can do a small theoretical, because obviously they've had the time to do it, and we can concentrate more on the practical assessments and that sort of stuff that we need to do. Yeah.
Now,
by all means.
What about?
You'll find that the cost, that thing is very cost effective as well.
What is the
Nowhere
cost?
in the world will you be able to get the training. Well, just give you an example. America is charging on a TC3 course, which is your quite advanced course. They're looking anything between 12 and 15,000 US dollars.
Wow.
I mean, we're charging a flat rate of I think now at the moment at about 4,800 rand.
That's nothing.
It's basically just covering the costs. You must understand, when we set up things, we're not here to make money. We're here to equip our people. And all that we're asking for is just the finances, just to recoup what we've put into it, because medical equipment is expensive. And I think we all know that every time we go to a lawyer, to a pharmacy, or we go and see a doctor, it costs you money.
Right.
So this is the type of things that we're just looking at the end of the day, and we put a lot of time and effort into it, and they come out top people. They've learned a lot. And these courses, most of the courses on the practical side is helped around the husband and wife coming home and there's a break-in. What do you do?
Right.
Or you're in your house and there's a break-in. What do you do to get out, and how to get out?
Yeah.
And this is the type of things that we concentrate on.
Now, in the case that there is, well, I think it's inevitable that there's going to be anarchy in South Africa now. When this happens, what sort of medicines should people have at home? Because we're looking at two areas. We're looking at disease, and we're looking at injuries if you get attacked. What sort of medicines and equipment should people have in their home to cover their health side?
Okay, it's quite easy. We had the same scenario now not so long ago. If you're a family of 5 or a family of 4, you must cater for 4 people's needs. You've got to look at number one priority is your all your chronic medication. You need to stop stocking up on that. But when you stock up on it, don't take it and put it into a cupboard or into one of your bags and say, right, it's ready. You've got to rotate your medication, because remember, medication has got an expiry date as well. I find a lot of people running off and they're buying, where they're getting the stuff on the black market or whatever, they're buying penicillin and stuff. And when I actually look at the stuff, this stuff is like expired 5 years ago. So what are you doing now? You're actually trying to help somebody, but you're actually killing them further.
Right.
So you've got to be very careful with the medications that you've done. I try and help quite a lot when it comes to that sort of stuff, but we disinfectants, stuff like that. Remember, think basics. What are you going to do? You got to look at stop bleeding, assist people with breathing and that sort of stuff. Equip yourself properly for that. Because remember, you can only do CPR for so long as one person entity. If you're 2 people, well, good. If you're 3 people, brilliant. But if you're 1, you're going to have to draw the line sooner or later and say, listen, well, I can't carry on with CPR, because otherwise you're going to be lying next to the patient yourself. And unfortunately, you must understand that God works through our hands at the end of the day, and God decides at the end of the day who goes and who stays. And us doctors, like a lot of us like to say at the end of the day, it's through our intervention, but no, it's not. I think the way things have gone in South Africa, we've cut back on a lot of things. Our health has deteriorated quite a bit. We don't lead such a healthy lifestyle anymore due to circumstances, and it's a great pity, and we're bearing the brunt of it today. And it's very easy to jump out and go and buy McDonald's or whatever the case may be. The worst stuff that you can actually see. This is why we got obesity in this country.
Yeah.
And with obesity, what comes there? It's unhealthy eating practices, and this is why I have to say myself, I've got a challenge now before June. I have to lose this paunch of mine, or this food what do you have? Food cupboard that's dropped. So these are little things that we got to look at, and we got to turn our lifestyle around now. We got to get healthy, because remember, if you're not healthy, how are you going to look after yourself if you get hurt? If you're obese or whatever the case may be, you've got heart problems, you've got sugar problems, all that sort of stuff. These are little things that we've got to look at. So I try and keep everything down to the basics. It's no use using this fancy medical terminology, because it just blows over some of the people's heads at the end of the day.
Sure.
And I find it falls on deaf ears. But these are little things that we've definitely got to look at the end of the day. Equip yourself well, and have a good first aid kit with you at all time. But something that can help you for however big your family is, and try and get it to be able to work for at least 2 to 3 weeks before you can get decent help.
Right. Now, I just want to address the people watching again. Please remember to subscribe. On Saturday night, we're actually having a really important discussion about patents on coronavirus vaccines, and I think you'd find that very interesting too, Gavin. And what's actually going on in that area, which involves, of course, Bill Gates. But we'll discuss that on Saturday night. So please remember to subscribe so that you get the alerts of when those happen. Now, getting back to the situation right now in South Africa, I've always said that I think in many ways this lockdown has a silver lining, because although it's really rough at the moment for everybody, I think the outcome is going to be the overthrow of the ANC government. Now, when the ANC government falls, what is Boerelegioen and other groups that you're associated with going to do to safeguard the community?
Scott, okay, let's just put that. We just got to clear everything at the end of the day. With Boerelegioen, they have their plan set in.
Right.
Remember, all the different groups like Boerelegioen have got a plan, a contingency plan, or whatever.
I know you can't talk about it. You understand that?
Yeah. Okay, but what actually happens is we fall in with all the groups' contingency plans.
Right.
Not just Boerelegioen, but the majority of the other group, which is an alliance at the end of the day. So basically, we are looking at equipping ourselves for the worst. Funds are a problem for us at the moment, because to just keep medical stock. I wish I could show you around my surgery just to see what is actually. Most of the stuff is here, should the pauper hit the fan.
Right.
But I can guarantee you, I won't even be able to support 100 people for a week. And if you see what I've got a truckload of stuff.
Wow.
But as I say, we got our contingencies in plan as a medical backup group for all the groups. Remember, we can't fight this thing alone. This has got to be something that everybody comes together. And this is where Executive TACMED stands, and I put my foot down with a lot of things. When you're part of the alliance, we're working together for the greater good of our folk. And this is what we've got to be very, very careful of. And there's a lot of people within different organizations that are trying to kick the box to push out. Why? I don't know. I think it's an ethical, fat head syndrome, or something has gone to his head. I mean, I don't even see myself as Surgeon General. It means nothing to me. To me, I see myself as another human being, just equipped with a little bit more tools to be able to get out there to assist my people. That's all I see. And there's a lot of people that don't see it that way. They've got this fancy title, and they're sitting up top there, and they are ruling the roost. And it's not working for most of the organizations.
Yeah.
And we decided at the end of the day, come and take hands with us. Regardless what everybody has to say. 50% of all the groups in this country have got, the foundation is the same. The brickwork on top and a bit of the plaster work, it changes. And people only look at the plaster work, they don't look at the foundation. It's the same as theirs at the end of the day. So that's common ground for everybody to work on. So we look at it as building bridges between groups and saying, listen, all your groups, Boerelegioen, BFN, VVS, whoever you might be, the Evolver, pull in let's make one strong big unit, regardless what fondle you're running under at the end of the day. So these are the little things that we've got to look at and we've got to iron out straight. But so far it's starting to work. People will come around.
Well, I'm
because
hearing.
Remember, in our old thing, in the old days, we used to have eendrag maak mag.
Yeah.
You know, united we stand, divided we will fall. And the quicker our guys start putting that together, the quicker we're going to start putting this together. But there's too many little petty fights and bullshit that gets thrown around. Sorry, excuse my French, but it pees me off sometimes with the way some of these people think. And but in any case, we're breaking the walls down so that people start seeing the foundation and not just the wall that's been built up there at the end of the day.
Right.
So that's how I see it at the moment, Scott.
Okay. Now, I do have to say that this lockdown has caused a huge problem for one of these big organizations, because their strategy is to leave the cities or the towns and go to a safe space. But if there's a lockdown, how are you going to do that?
Yeah, look, if there's a lockdown, it's going to be a problem. But look, let me tell you something. How do you stop a mass amount of cars getting out here? You know, there's a lot of different groups. I'm not going to mention the groups tonight. I feel it's totally unfair, you know what I mean, to actually single out some. But the particular group you're referring to now, I've got a lot of very good friends in there. Okay, also, I don't want to mention too many names about that without the permission. But one of the top key people and that sort of stuff is a person that I've got a lot of respect for. He was a POW in Angola, and I've got personally a lot of respect for the guy and that sort of stuff. We agree on a lot of things, and there's certain things we don't agree. I say abandonment is a problem, because if I leave my house where I am now, that's called abandonment. You are allowed to come and take this place over, because I've abandoned it. What are you going to do legally in this law that we've got in this country? You've got to think very carefully of what's happening. I say, what I'm saying now today, your group, your town must be supported properly. You get together, you single them out, and you stand for what is yours. This is mine. I spent years paying for what I've got today. Why should I just hand it over? I'll fight for what is mine.
Right.
Because you're sitting outside in the field, in a caravan or in a tent, that's what you've got.
Okay, now, first of all,
And that's all.
Richard is here, and Richard is someone who works with you, Richard Lamos.
Ah, wie geht's, meine Freund? So it's my German buddy. Yes.
Richard, if you just keep on dropping your email into the side chat, and people can contact you to contact Boerelegioen, I think that's the best way to go. And I've also got a message in the side chat from Isaac. He says, we're currently in most towns establishing joints to accommodate all defense, safety, security structures. TACMED will be the medical support in every joint. This is a huge task, isn't it, Gavin? Because you're the Surgeon General of these groups, aren't you?
Correct, that's correct. Yes. Now remember, due to the alliance with all the groups, we've all come under sort of like one umbrella, and this is what I was trying to explain to you just now. It's vitally important to get each town at least a couple of medics trained up, that they can keep the people alive until such time that we can get the people in to do what is necessary. Obviously, by the looks of things, I'm going to do a lot of traveling. This brings me to another point now. At the present moment, there's only 3 doctors involved. I find more the doctors don't want to be involved in this sort of thing because they are far left guys. Well, I'm not going to get into their character, they've got their reasons. But they are far left.
Right.
And the liberals, if you want to put it that way, Scott. So to them, you know, they still see this Mandela Rainbow Nation coming out there, but they haven't seen that pot of gold at the end of on both sides of the rainbow is gone a long time ago. I mean, Zuma wiped that out already, and whatever's left now, they're squabbling over it themselves now. It's like dishing into the pot now with the last bit of pop at the bottom there. So this is one way where we all get together. Each one's got his role and it's got his function, and we function as a well-oiled machine, if you want to put it that way. And I've got my role with my people, and they know exactly what to do. The people that are going to defend, they got to defend, and we'll be there to look after their needs at the end of the day. We serve the brave. So, and we're prepared to, our people are trained high enough to go in and fetch people out, and from wherever they are. We will leave no one behind on the battlefield if it came to that at the end of the day. So we are really jacked up in that way. And, you know, if you've got one group, like the Boerelegioen, for argument's sake, that has got 1,000 people, and you've got the other groups that are prepared to come and sit around the pot with us at the end of the day, you're looking at 10, 20,000 strong. I mean, then you're a real force to be reckoned with at the end.
Right.
So I'm very, very happy with that. So I think our main challenge at the moment is to get the people trained, and unfortunately with the lockdown and that sort of stuff in the work, to get the training done is a problem, because it is quite costly at the end of the day. And I sympathize with the people in that, although we brought the cost down a hell of a lot, just to basically cover what we have to cover. We're not meeting the demands fast enough as I would like to. So it's becoming very difficult, Scott. It's becoming a mammoth task. It's not just a little thing where a person can devote his time to anymore. It becomes a financial burden, and as it is now, it becomes a financial burden just to live during lockdown with what you see is actually happening here.
Now, talking about these groups, I think Boerelegioen works with USAF or Zuidlanders with a Z, don't they?
That's correct, yes. I know they have got an alliance there, and they are the sort of the military attaché to Zuidland. Okay.
And what about ULA and Hein Marks? Because I know he would love to get involved with other groups. Has Boerelegioen ever approached Hein Marks?
I think there has been a hand extended to each other.
Good.
Personally, I haven't, been so fixated and on what our role is that I haven't worried too much about the group politics, if you want to put it that way.
Right.
I try not to worry with the inter-politics of groups. We've got our own politics, and I'm here for a reason, to train people medically. And if you want to talk politics, then carry on talking politics. Just leave me out of it. That was what I. So, you've got to be focused on what you do and what you do well, and that's how you push through. This is why I say it's vitally important that all these groups, Zuidland's got their pros and cons, ULA's got their pros and cons, and no matter how you put it out to people, you'll always get one guy that knows better than the other guy. Unfortunately, that happens in any society today. But to me, I would rather start something and support somebody, even if it's half-heartedly. What happens if they get it right? Big bunnies, if they don't get it right, so what? Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah.
This is my philosophy. I'd rather do something than do nothing. And I don't know if it's perhaps maybe some people that didn't take their own initiative and their own way of thinking and saying, listen, let us try something like that. There's sort of like a jealousy between some of the groups. And like again, I say, some people think they're there in the clouds. They must come down to earth.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not up there at the moment, So, and once we can level the playing field, it's going to be fantastic for us South Africans down here on the side. We have that unity, and once you got that unity, then I see things happening, because that's when people will start standing together, standing up as one, and opening their mouth and say enough is enough.
Yeah.
So a lot of the groups I agree with a lot of stuff that they've got. A lot of the groups I don't agree with, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's their decision, not our decision.
Yeah.
We're there for a executive tactic group is there for a specific task.
Well, I personally see that I personally see that these different groups have different synergies and areas that they really get into. So there is a lot of synergy between them, because they're not going to overlap in the same area. So they've got different goals and different aims. I was speaking to Dr. Peter Hammond, who's a very, very well-known evangelist. He's based in Cape Town, and he's an amazing man. He's a fantastic mediator. He's actually been involved in several countries where areas have been seceded, like in Sudan. And he has said he would be very happy to just sit there and like be the mediator in a very informal discussion group between the various leaders from groups like Boerelegioen, ULA, USAF, etc., 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 just so that they can talk to each other. I mean, they don't have to agree with each other, but he would mediate so at least they've met each other, they can talk to each other, and they can look for some common ground, which I think is the only way going forward.
Scott, I agree with you 100%. Excuse me. You couldn't be more right. It's like I was saying now, if a person can just look through all that BS that there's at the end of the day and look at their foundation, what is their foundation built on? It's exactly the same as what their group is. But from the walls up, they've got different views and that sort of stuff. And yes, some of them are very radical and some of them are very conservative. I'm saying we have the guidelines already here. We've got to abide by international law at the end of the day.
Right.
Okay. And the international law says, what is your law of your of where you stay, of your country? Abide by those rules and fight the fight within the guidelines, and you'll overcome it. The minute you start going radical, what are you actually then branded? As a terrorist? And this is going to happen very quickly. Now, how do you ask the outside for help if you're carrying on like a hooligan here in this country? You've got to be very careful of that.
Yeah.
Now, like I say, I'm going to be branded after this now for saying what I have to say, but I think it needs to be said. There's a reason why we're on here and why I was invited here tonight. And my reason in saying is to all the groups out there, leave your BS at home. Come together, unite as a nation.
Exactly.
You know, we all talk about things and everyone prays to God and everyone prays to that. He's our king, he's our supreme leader. Who are you to put yourself as a supreme leader at the end of the day? You can't do that. And this is why the guys are falling. And this is why you got so many segregation in between the whites now at the moment. It's no wonder that terrorists are sitting on the outside having a good laugh with us at the end of the day, saying, wow, look at these guys. They can't even keep it to themselves. How are they going to fight us? Yeah, if the guys get peed off with me, then so be it. Take it from where it comes, my friend. Go search your soul, look inside of you and see what's actually coming out there at the end of the day. Are you in that group or are you leading that group for the right reasons or the wrong reasons? And this is where our way of thinking has got to change. And this 21 days lockdown, we're now on nearly a month at lockdown. I think a person should have had the time now to sit back and reunite themselves with God at the end of the day, and then put themselves at one in the center with God.
Right.
And actually look away and say, where are we standing as a collective with all the groups? Let's unite. I'm not saying we have to unite under one flag. Everyone can have his own flag, but at least we can unite and have one voice coming out somewhere and saying, enough's enough, let's carry on. I would love to see that. If that happens, I can promise you, Scott, I'll die a happy man.
Yeah.
That will be worth than money. It'll be worth than gold, anything in this country, any riches you can give me.
Well,
and that's to me the prime thing.
Yeah. Well, look, I've had live stream. I've had live streams with all the leaders of all the groups, and I know there's some petty differences that people have, but when you look at the size of the issue we're confronting, it's crazy not to sit around a table together and just have that understanding of, okay, that's what Isaac looks like, that's what Hein looks like. I know I can pick up the phone and speak to Hein. I know I can pick up the phone and speak to Isaac. I don't have to agree with everything he says. I mean, that's something as basic as that. So when the shit hits the fan, they can get together and say, okay, now we've got to start being the adults and working together.
Yeah, be the man. Put on your big boy pants and stand up and stand out in the crowd and say, listen, war, up here, no more. We're not going anywhere the way we're going. Let's stand and unite as one. And I tell you, it can happen. And it will be beautiful if everybody could get together.
Yeah.
All the leaders could get together and say, right, guys, we've had our thrash out, we've had our differences. What is it going to, what are we accomplishing with it? Nothing.
Right.
We're not accomplishing it. All it is doing, it's becoming a festering sore that's sitting there that hasn't got attention. And it's just festering and festering and festering until the bubble bursts.
Yeah. Now,
and then what happens?
I'm just going to...
Is that what you want?
I'm just going to address the side chat and those watching right now. Guys, if you are a member of a group, any group, please, you've got to start pushing your leadership to get involved in some kind of an alliance with the other groups, because it's crazy if you don't. You can see Gavin's
I drink to that one. I drink to that one.
So you got to start hassling your leadership. Okay, now getting back to this lockdown, I've been of the view that the worst thing that the ANC could have done was to bring in a first world lockdown where the whole thing is based on social distancing, which is impossible in the townships and impossible in taxis, which they're still allowing. So you've basically undermined the whole idea of having a lockdown before you start. All they've done is they've destroyed the economy of South Africa. Now, if you look at what's happened in China, you know, people have got their own little apartments, so you can have social distancing. If you look at Australia, people have their own houses, so you can have social distancing. And the same applies in other first world countries. So for the ANC to try and say, oh, we're going to do this lockdown as well, I don't think the cap fits. It's like putting a round peg in a square hole. It doesn't work. What are your views on that?
Correct. Well, let's just give you a prime example. You go to any squatter camp and you open up one of the shacks inside there. You'll have about 4 or 5 families crawling out of that little room.
Mm.
And they are forced in that room for 21 days. How do you get out? They don't have running water in those shacks. The nearest shack is the running water tap might be 100 meters away. The toilets could be 200 meters away. How do we know?
Yeah.
There's going to have that interaction. You know, the problem is our government doesn't have the brain capacity to lead.
We can't think.
You just got to listen to talk on TV. Yeah, I mean, I bury my head in shame when I listen to them.
Yeah.
And Cyril Ramaphosa is one of them. And he's supposed to be an educated man.
Yeah.
Well, I seriously challenge that at the end of the day. But if you look at what's actually happening, he's listening, and he's what would be the right word now? He's been brainwashed. You know, Scott, let's just look when they were branded as terrorists, where did they get their training? Russia,
Yeah.
China, Cuba. What is all those things in common? They've grown up with that way of thinking of communism. That's it. And they think that's going to work. Yeah, it hasn't worked anywhere in the world. Now convince these nuggins that it's going to in this country, it's not going to happen.
Right.
They are so fixated that they are right. And of course, where are they getting all their know-how from now and their input? They're not listening to the rest of the world. I'll tell you what they're listening to. They're listening to China.
Yeah.
And to Cuba. And by bringing in 200 Cuban doctors here that are not even qualified, that don't have the right to practice in this country, we're sitting with those doctors that you think is, and I feel for them. I do. They are part of my nation. They're part of my who I am, and they're not allowed to practice. Why? Because Healthcare Professionals Council have written all these funny little laws and stuff like that. Even if you came in and actually wrote the exam, you'd most probably pass it and put their own doctors to shame. I mean, you're sitting with our doctors here that are trained here, black doctors that go to Cuba. They're there for supposed to be 5 years for training and come back and do the internship here in South Africa. They're sitting there 10, 11 years already. Why?
Wow.
Because they can't fathom what's going in there. So, well, yeah.
And the taxpayers paying the bill.
Exactly. And who's the taxpayers? Us. I was just talking to somebody today. I said, let's stop paying tax. This thing is now started. Let's run like wildfire now. And everybody's come back and said, what's the legal implication? My guys, you don't pay tax. You're in a shit. Finish cloth. Yeah. But if you hold it back long enough, they'll go bankrupt before they can even charge you with anything.
Well, so I think they'll do that on. I think they'll do that on their own bat anyway. Go bankrupt, I mean.
Yeah. No, they're already bankrupt. So, but they've lined their own nests. Well lined, and they can sit back at to their own people's demise as well at the end of the day. So I don't know where we're going to go with that whole situation and when this bomb's going to blast. But all I can say to you, it's going to go off very soon. That people are getting. I mean, they're sitting outside at the end of the day. You're keeping us inside to die to prevent COVID-19 when we're dying of hunger. What's the best? What's the best evil? So best they go out and steal, and this is what's happening. You're not going to stop it. The looting is going to get worse.
Let's face it, Gavin. There's a huge gap between the black privileged, which are the ANC and their cadres and their families and their mates, and the rest of the black population. I mean, the black population are starving, but there's black economic empowerment that was supposed to empower the general black population. All it's done is enrich those with black privilege, i.e. the politicians and their mates. So it's been a complete failure, and I think it's been planned that way to fail. I just want to get back to that iconic photo of that white lady walking her dog in a street in Cape Town, no one around her, just walking her dog, and you got 3 police cars and 7 police arresting her for walking her dog. And then you've got that other iconic video which came out just today of people standing in queues 2.5 miles long at Centurion waiting for the gift of the givers, not the ANC food parcels, the gift of the givers to come with food parcels because they're starving. No social distancing, no police, no army, and you've got this. It is just such a parody because you've got one single person walking their dog, gets arrested, and then you've got these queues going for 2.5 miles, no police, no social distancing. Why is this happening? I mean, it's just wrong.
It's totally wrong, Scott. Totally. I mean, look at the social distancing of those, that 2.5 kilometer. I mean, they're not even adhering to the 1 meter rule, which also means nothing. You've got to be 1.8 meters away to try and do something, some sort of impact. It comes down to, again, it's fine if we do it, but it's wrong if you do it. What law book are we using here in this country? Is it 2 sets of law books? Which I'm trying to find out if there is at the end of the day, because where the hell did they get the law that it's fine for them to do things, but it's wrong for us to do things? Comes down to, again, reverse racism. And if you look at the whole infrastructure, even the blacks sitting in the queuing up, or whatever the case may be, you're looking at this new world order thing again that's coming in. Yeah. I have the video footage where he's actually admitted it. Yeah. They want to see this new world thing come in. One religion, one everything. And that is Ramaphosa that said it himself.
Well,
now, I mean, there's Anton Rupert, the Oppenheimers, and that sort of stuff. Yeah, they are running the government at the end of the day, because that's why they put that money in.
Yeah,
they run the DP, they run the ANC. I wouldn't be surprised if Malema is also in the cake mix with them. Just this one must open his mouth up a bit more, and that one must say a little bit less, and this one must moan about that. But at the end of the day, you're all running for the same thing.
I'll tell you something that's more. I'll tell you something that's even more disturbing. Gavin, I'll tell you something that's even more disturbing. It's on the subject you're exactly talking about, and that is that the policy that is brought into Parliament is not written by South Africans or elected politicians. It's written by NGOs. Now, if you look at expropriation without compensation, there's an organization called PLAS in the Cape, and the lady who actually writes the policy for expropriation without compensation is Professor Ruth Hall. Now, PLAS is an NGO. It's very, very left-wing, and guess who most of their funding comes from? George Soros, Open Society Foundation. But they're the ones writing the policy for the politicians in South Africa. They're embedded in the offices of these MPs, and the policy that's been written in South Africa is not being written for the benefit of the voters and the people who voted the ANC in. The policy that's been written is being put in such a way that it actually follows the agenda of these NGOs like Open Society Foundations. There's a complete disconnect between what the ANC stand for and what they put out there as law. Are you familiar with how this happens?
Scott, I'm going to back that up and say that you're 100% correct. If you look at a while ago, if you just took Julius Malema, what his English was like when he gave a speech. Now he reads a speech, his English is brushed up. He's obviously reading of something that's been put out for him to read.
Right.
And the only way you pick that up is, have you seen how they spell, how they pronounce demise? Demise.
Demise or something.
Just listen. Just listen to how they say. I can't even pronounce the way they do it.
Yeah.
Demise or whatever you call it. But you can see they're reading off a speech, something that's been given to them to do. And the English is improved overnight. Come on, it's got to be something that you've written. It's nothing that's come out of their thick skulls at the end of the day. So right. I with Soros and those guys, all that I can say is to hope and pray that I never become president of this country, because those are the first people I'll put against the firing wall. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
I'll make Hitler look like a flipping altar boy at the end of the day when I'm finished with it. Look, Scott, you know what? This is when you grow up with certain principles.
Yeah.
But when you start reverse racism and that sort of stuff, you find a lot of liberals now, and I found it out now within our group. I found it out. A lot of them have become more racialistic than what we have ever been in our life. They've got this hatred now, and you ask him, why are you doing that? Because they're doing it to us. I never stood for that, but now that they're turning, look what they're doing. I said, well, we've been seeing it for years, and we've been telling you, and you didn't have ears. They weren't open. I said, not that. They were so happy-go-lucky in their little world that the bomb is starting to burst now within the bubble is starting to burst in their own families now, and this is where you're starting to get these things. The people are starting to pull out now. So you are making more racialists.
Right.
It just happens. I mean, look what's happening in America.
Yeah.
Why is this COVID-19 attacking more African Americans than what is doing the whites?
Yeah.
Yeah, but now they've been suppressed. They've been everything. Okay, well, our guys have been suppressed, and look at our numbers where we're sitting now with COVID-19. So something is not gelling. They're very quick to play the victim. And believe me, they all had drama at school. They know how to turn on that victim. And they get it right internationally.
And it's always Jan van Riebeck's fault too.
Oh my goodness, let's not go into that. That poor, I think he's spinning in his grave by now. But yeah, and if it's not him, then it's the clerk, and if it's not him, then it's somebody else. They'll always find something. You might be next, Scott. How do you know? So yeah, no, I just feel for the poor bugger.
Yeah,
he's not even around.
I just want to address those watching. Please, guys, if you want to put some questions in, please do put them in the side chat. If the mods can just copy them and paste them in a short while, we'll be actually starting to turn into the questions. Okay, so actually I might just start us with the first question here, because we've been going for well over an hour already, Gavin. Property says, ask Dr. Gavin if he might know how many trained veterans can they gather should it be needed? I'm not sure if you can
Very
say.
difficult question. I would love to say it, but it'll be very difficult to say.
Yeah.
You know, with all the groups, each group has got X amount of people in it, and everyone's group is always 100% inflated in what they should have. Mine comes down to is, can I just answer that thing very honestly?
Go ahead.
Let's take us veterans. There's a lot of veterans that can, like myself, they can go out and do something still, but I still need a grandpa or two to get out there. And then you still got a lot of veterans that's got the knowledge and everything, but unfortunately they can't due to some old age, unfortunately. And this is what's holding us back on a lot of the stuff at the end of the because of our age. Some people can do it, some people just can't do it. Some of them are quite critically ill, and our needs has got to be to look after them as well. So we got to be very careful when we talk about our veterans, because a lot of veterans are also far left as well, and they're there for political reasons and for monetary gain.
Right.
That's why I say if this is their God, then chase it, my friend. But remember, when this thing's all over, you've got to come back to somebody, and then you've got to face us and say what you've done during your time. And this is where we got to draw the line. And you're either going to be with us on the front line, or you're going to be on the back line. And when you are on the back line, please hope and pray that your visa's in and you can get out of the country before we did.
Right.
Because that's what my personal feeling is about it. And like I said, I'm standing on toes tonight, but I don't care. Our people need to listen to a few untruths.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, you don't get it in dialogue and talking nice. Sometimes you got to raise a few heavy words so that they just get their attention to what is happening. But I would love to know how many veterans we've got that are capable. I can tell you on our group, I can say now with all honesty, 65% of our group are all ex-veterans, all current. Most of them, we've just come back now within, if I say within, I'd say within the last 3 years to the past 12 years. Most of our people have been international, be it with Blackwater or some of the PMO groups and that sort of thing. And we're quite current, and we're trying to keep current. And we're relying on the veterans to pass the info and the knowledge over to the younger generation.
Right.
Because they're the people that's going to fight if we fall away.
Now,
and we'd love to know that knowledge is passed over.
One of the groups that we support is Marius Roos, and he actually trains young white men. And I know that he and Isaac were speaking a while back, but I'm not sure where it's gone. But he's got a camp with about 30 young white young men who he's training in bushcraft and all these sort of things. I think he's someone who could become very valuable to your organization. And I just also want to make a comment. Jabulani in Lovo, lovely to see you here. He says, I feel like I'm the only black here, but happy to be here. Anyway, love the content. Well, you know, this is, anyone can come and listen to the Loving Life channel. We're talking about really what is happening on the ground in South Africa. And we're talking to real people who know what's happening. And that's why we've got Gavin here right now. So getting back to Marius, is that the sort of person who could be useful to Boerelegioen?
Scott, you're answering giving me all the questions, addressing to the wrong person. Yeah, from a medical point of view, I don't know how you'd fit in. From a Boerelegioen, I don't know. You'll have to have a chat with Isaac over that.
Right. Okay.
Or any of the other groups. I think he's more channeled in assisting a lot of the people that come from difficult backgrounds.
That's right, yes.
Be it drug-related, whatever the case may be. You know, our field of expertise is so specialized that we got to concentrate on the level-headed guys at the end of it. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting with a problem. We got to, when our guys go into a situation like our tactical teams, if they go into a situation and they've got a hope corp all the time, and they're not just thinking of themselves, they're thinking about the teammates that's behind them. They function as one. And if you got people that come out of a different training environment, I think our training environments change a hell of a lot. Maybe for more from a beginning stage to promote discipline and that sort of stuff, I would say maybe yes. I don't want to run the guy down. I think what he's doing is a fantastic job. At least he stood out and said, listen, I'm going to do something, and he's doing it. 10 out of 10 for you, my brother. I agree. From a medical background, I know too little about the guy, so I would hate to say, I don't want to put him in a spot where he's going to feel left aside or whatever the case. But if he could put his case forward, then so be it. Then I'm prepared to listen, and I'm prepared to bring in anybody that can offer something that we're not offering, or something that we are offering but much better. I'll stand aside, because it's not for me. It's for my people out there. That's what I'm here for, my people, and that's it.
Now, with the doctors, are you interested in hearing from these doctors who can't practice in South Africa, if they're interested in getting involved?
Please.
Okay, I'll get them to contact you.
I'd love them on board, because I know that I can make a place for them somewhere along the line.
Right.
And they are more welcome to join. I mean, they're my brothers. They are my colleagues.
Yeah.
And if I can utilize and be them wherever they are, because obviously Executive TACMed, we're going to keep it very central in one stage in Gauteng, but unfortunately it's rolled out all over the show now, which is not unfortunate. It's a good thing. And I think wherever the little groups are now, they can offer assistance to whichever town they're in. And I think this is the way to go.
Right. Now, RJ's asked, do you think the government has been dishonest about the amount of people infected with coronavirus and the number of deaths?
Yes. They are very dishonest about it. If you come in with pneumonia, I mean, COVID-19, that's actually wrong. COVID-19 is the new name. It's the SARS-CoV-2 virus that's mutated, according to them, and it's now, you come in with pneumonia, you come in with heart failure, and you pass away, you will be diagnosed with COVID-19. I think what this government is doing, and I want you guys to sit and think of something else now, government's way of thinking. This thing came out in Wuhan, and the whole world is blaming Wuhan at the moment. Look, if they are guilty or not, it's not for me to say. Truth will come out. But what I think is, through the International Monetary Fund and that, they've set this budget aside to assist poor African countries, if you want to put it that way, with the amount of COVID cases that they get, and they get financial aid. And I think this is what's happening right now at the moment.
Right. Okay, now, next question. Sorry, I was just drinking a glass of water when you stopped talking.
No problem.
Paddy has asked, Doctor, what are your thoughts on the hydroxychloroquine, zinc, Zithromax as preventative therapeutic treatments?
Okay. Let's just take one step back. That was designed for malaria, and it's very effective for malaria. When you talk about what they're trying to do is stop the bacteria getting into your red blood cells, because that's what carries the oxygen. To try and isolate it off there. Now, yes, in theory, if you listen to it, it sounds like a good argument. But we have to, and there are busy tests being done in America now at the moment on this. So once we establish that, you might have to tweak it a bit. But this is where the problem will come in, which you're going to be part of your discussion on Saturday. The trial tests and that sort of stuff haven't been completed properly on that yet. So I would say, man, they're onto something. So when you're onto something, it's got to be tweaked, and you'll find something out that will work at the end of the day. So that's where we got to be now at the moment. But these tests take long to do to clinically prove that it is working. So at the moment, I would say no, to be honest.
Right. Okay. Now,
and also remember, it's got a lot of side effects. So that stuff can kill you if you're not taken properly, and it can also cause blindness.
I heard that.
Yeah, no, it can.
Francie Beitendacht has asked, Doc, what's your views on the virus?
Okay, I'm going to give my take on it. I'm going to be crucified for this thing tonight again within my people, and they know what they are. They already know what I'm going to say.
Right.
This virus, let's take Wuhan now for argument's sake. This came out of Wuhan. Where is one of the biggest labs in the world? Is Wuhan. Why is it there? Number one, it's cheaper to manufacture certain drugs and certain things that come out there. You know, people, they talk about the bats and they talk about snakes. It's very easy to give those things to, but you know, for these bacterial things to be able to mutate to such a state that it can get into us, where our bodies are designed to fight off type of viruses like that has been had to be mutated. Also, the other theory is at the moment now, how do you change a structure to allow foreign items or foreign bodies to get in? It's with high radiation. Now, I see, if you look at, there's a good theory which you can look at now, and something that we need a lot of people with brain power. Maybe we got the brain power outside there with some bright guys that can put two and two together, especially the computers. Have a look where all the 5G networks have gone up, and they're functioning and they're running.
Right.
And what is happening in that surrounding area. Why do you think Wuhan got on a rampage and started flipping, burning their 5G towers down and pulling them down and that sort of? I think there is some sort of something that's happened. This thing was supposed to maybe leak out of somewhere via Bill Gates and them, because why did he talk about this virus a long time ago?
Yeah.
Why is he only talking about the antidote? And he's just put a patent in now. And funny enough, what is that patent number?
Yeah, well, we're going to be talking about that on Saturday night.
Yeah, 0606. It comes down
666,
to the son of the beast. Okay, some people will tell you it's 999, but any case, there's just too many little things that's coming out now, and with New World Order thing, something is starting to push, and we already see people getting trodden on now. It's basically channeling the people now into a way of thought now, and to say, listen, you don't have, where's your next food parcel coming? So you're either going to comply with stuff, or you're going to go hungry. And isn't that the New World Order's way?
Yeah. Actually, you know, you mentioned Ramaphosa talking about the New World Order. And, you know, clearly his minders, and again, the NGOs, non-government organizations, which are basically being financed by George Soros, is putting together his strategy. There's no question in my mind about that.
No, definitely. George Soros and them all your multi-billionaires.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention Illuminati because, you know, there's a lot of, I like to try and talk a little bit of fact at the end of the day, you know, and then get some of my stuff, but I know I'm on the right path somewhere along the line. I might only be 5%, but George Soros and that, they've tried this, he's tried this nonsense all over the world. Hungary has just booted him out now. They want nothing to do with him. They've now gotten onto what he's onto.
And Russia.
And Hungary is making a big thing. Oh, well, there's that, Russia as well. Personally, between me and him, if it's between him and me in my room, he must hope and pray that wherever he's going to accept him, because I've got no time for him.
Right.
And the bananas and all of the Ruperts and all that sort of stuff. They, to me, are white sellouts. They are. And if they can deny it as much as they want to, but they can hide it behind their money. But I've got the message for them tonight is the day that they go, all that money stays behind. And they're going to go up there with nothing or wherever they're going. So, you know what? I hate is a bad word. but I detest them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're a sellout to my country for personal gain. And unfortunately, I want to let them know now. We're not going to allow it. And if it comes to the bullet, then so be it. It's him or me.
Right.
And better him than me.
Right. Now, talking about Rupert and Oppenheimer, I didn't see them put their hands into their pockets for 1 cent to help out with the starving white community in South Africa. Did you?
I've got my take on that one too. No, I haven't. But I think personally, the Jacob Zuma put a serious dent into their pocket already, and this is why I think they're a bit scared to get their hands burned, and will allow Soros to rather dig into his pockets for a while now, while it lasts. But they're in for a rough ride, and I can tell you now, I think behind the scenes there's a lot of drive which we don't know, and this is why I say they're all a bunch of sellouts.
Yeah.
So the same with the Clark. Same with those bunches, and they can crucify me for what I'm saying now tonight. I don't care.
Right.
I took this position. I stand this position to stand my ground. I'm prepared to fight the fight and take it further. If they think they can come and take it over, just with walking over us, they must think again.
Right.
They don't realize with the little we got what we can do. And
Absolutely.
This is where I think they must do it. Because remember, in the old days, it was always it was gun on sticks, and then it was gun on gun. Now it's gun on COVID-19. Put it that way, if you want to put it that way.
Right.
Biological will sort it out. So I'll stand back, watch it, enjoy the movie.
Okay.
So that's how I feel about it now at the moment, Scott. So yeah, I hope it answers their question now as well. But that's my take on it. Please, don't. Everyone's in the dark now at the moment regarding that.
Right. Okay, we've got some more questions for you here. Paul says, what's happening with the numbers? I think joining Boerelegioen. How does one sign up? Now, I'm getting a lot of people who are saying they are going to be joining the Boerelegioen, so I think you're gaining a lot of support in these times. But tell us, how does one sign up to Boerelegioen?
Okay, if the guys want to join Boerelegioen, it's quite simple, www.boerelegioen.co.za, and then just click on the site, and that'll take you to where you can join.
Right.
Very simple. Yeah.
Couldn't be easier. Is there
definitely not.
Is there a fee to pay?
Yes, there is obviously a fee of 50 Rand per month, yeah, that's basically what it boils down to.
Okay. Right. Now, next question from Kermit. Dr. Scrooby, what are your thoughts on the country being run by people who never defended its borders?
Can people see the stake in my heart? That's what it is. They've done nothing for this country. They think they have done nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about the veterans in this country. Let's just take it from our point of view. And I think a lot of the veterans out there are gonna agree with me. We were in Southwest Africa, beautiful country. Everyone will say to you, "You're mad. What do you see in the desert?" It was a stunning country.
Yeah.
We fought, we died there. Why? Because of this Roy Gevaar. We came back and it was just given away.
Yeah.
Few years later, what happens? What we fought for was also given away. So where do we stand? We sort of like the Twilight kids. Now, people on the left and the people on the right are looking to us and saying, "Okay, now what are you going to do now?" Oh, yeah, we've lost so much. What is? And this is the key. We've lost so much.
Yeah.
What does it take us to take back what we have to take back? And if we lose it, what have we got to lose in any case? So let's fight the fight.
Yeah.
We fight. This is why we are who we are. I could never go and work. I could go and work in a hospital if the patients were prepared to put with my bedside manner. But unfortunately, I come out of a military environment. It's totally different. I can't compare with the doctors that are there today. They're very nurturing and they're caring and that sort of stuff. I'm also nurturing and caring, but in a different way. But I think the times that we fought the war and that sort of, it made us very hard. And a lot of people can't relate to us today. I mean, Scott, you know what it's like when you get to a braai or something. What happens? Either way, it goes military, and what happened up north, or somewhere along the line. And that's how this discussion stays. A lot of people that come in from the outsiders come in that's never been don't understand it. But now you get these that just come in that were given everything on a golden plate, basically. And, you know, the ethics is not there. That's where it goes down. They didn't fight for anything in their life. Most of them were out of this country, just come back and been given something, and they're given a portfolio, even if it's with portfolio or without portfolio. My God, it's become very confusing. And these guys, what have they done? They've just taken something that is great and what is good, and they've just destroyed it.
Right.
And it's going down the tubes. There's Zimbabwe. Look what it used to be. It used to be the breadbasket of Africa. I mean, it was a beautiful country. Look at it now. It's not even beautiful anymore. It's just grey.
Yeah.
They've cut trees down. They've killed animals down. They've done everything. It's just a shambles, man.
Just destroyed
anything they touch turns to shit, whatever they touch.
And South Africa can't be allowed to go that way. Now, Edward Abrams has asked, can coloured people also join Boerelegioen?
You know, I've heard this thing many a times, Scott. I'm the wrong person to ask. I might be part of the alliance as the Surgeon General, but I'm not part of the management. You know, everyday management.
Right.
That I would have to be left to Isak at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, to decide on that stuff. On our side, we're training all sorts just to get right, and that's how we go. Medical staff is medical staff.
Yeah.
If they agree with what we wanted, we'll put him in somewhere along the line, and they'll contain him and facilitate him to a certain point to look after their own kind as well. You know, so there's been a call for that as well.
Right. Now, Isaac said here, we have many members who are financially contributing to our cause. You can also become an ambassador, so that's something important for people to consider. Okay, now, next question that I've got. Okay, I've got that one with Jamie Williams. Yeah. Okay. Robert Williams asks, what do you think will Ramaphosa do with BRICS alliance and New World Order? Because Africa has no foresight. Keep on fighting. They've stirred up the wrong hornet's nest. Viva Boerelegioen.
You know what? I say, let's go and kick that hornet's nest. This has got to come public now.
Yeah.
But that's me talking now. How many supporters I'll get from my own brothers? Well, I'll see by the day that I stand on that line. Either I fight the fight alone or I fight it with backing. It's up to them.
Yeah.
But I know what I'm going to do, and that's how we get in. As long as I got my people equipped and they can provide a service to my people that get hurt during their time, then so be it. That's where I want to be.
Right.
And all those that stand for what's right, I applaud you. Those that stand for what's right, well, you're going to be crumpled. No matter what size you are or how many you are, whatever the case may be. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, and it's a bit late to do something when you got a group knocking at your door, isn't it? You know, so
yeah,
you
very.
Now, John,
we'll overcome it and we'll get through it. We'll get through it. We know we can. We've done a lot more. We've accomplished a hell of a lot with less than what we've had in the past. So, I mean, come on, what stops us from now?
Yeah. Okay, now Fiona, who's one of our moderators on the channel, lovely lady, she's asked, I couldn't fill in the application form from the United Kingdom. I'll try again, but if I'm not successful, then what?
For the United Kingdom?
Yeah, she's in the UK.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was just, I had it somehow messed up. If I may ask, which form is she referring to? Executive tax mates form? Then that should have been emailed to you personally, because we prefer that personal interaction with our people than doing it sort of online sort of thing.
Oh, by the way, just while I'm thinking about it, Isaac said, could you give the website for TACMed?
Well, at the present moment, Scott, what's actually happened is our company registration, the name was reserved, but what actually happened was just before the registration went through, we went down on lockdown. So even our non-profit organization, which we are a number and all that, we're busy waiting for now. As soon as our company of registrar feels like they're going to resume work again, then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, just responding
But at
to
the moment,
some.
they can reach me on Gavin at dnamedical.co.za, or the DNA Medical Group. Sorry.
Fantastic. Now, Isaac said, Fiona, please give email address. We will email it. What I'll do, Isaac, is I've got Fiona's email address. I'll send her an email with your email address, and that way you can chat. I just don't want her to compromise her email here on the side chat. Okay, so what do we? Yeah, here we are. Vanita Gent has asked, level 4 practice run for the next 8 months. What is your take on that? I think they're talking about the level 4 lockdown.
Lockdown.
Yeah.
Financially, I can't see it happening. I'd see the bomb bursting before that. If this government doesn't wake up and actually say, listen, level 4 will have to be followed by level 3 very shortly after to start getting that money ball rolling again. Remember this 21 day of this month, if you can put it that way. To me, I look at it in one way where it's taken the clock and put it all back to zero again to try and kick in everything. But now everything's going to have to be rebuilt from scratch upward, business-wise now. And you're going to have millions without work, and without work comes hunger.
Right.
So if they don't roll something out in the very near future, they're committing political suicide right there and there, which they've already done in any case. And I think they know it. And they're trying to bury it now by giving little food packages and all that. That's why it's predominantly going to blacks at the moment, because of trying to buy their vote again. So I would say level 3 should follow quite shortly. But yes, this thing is in for a long time. COVID-19 is in for a long time. We're not going to see the end of this for the next 3 years. That I can guarantee you.
Wow. What about what about international travel? Do you think that's going to be impacted?
I think it already is. I think SAA is already bearing the brunt of it now. Well, before it was, but now it's already suffering. I think British Airways is under
well, Lufthansa's closed down.
Under some pressure at the moment. Yeah, I think Virgin is going to step in and do something there. Then we can look at Lufthansa. They're picking up problems. American Airways is picking up problems. But no, look, I think they're going to have to do something now to be able to resume back to work or some sort of thing to get in. Right. Maybe they're just going to put stricter controls when you enter the country, like a vaccination, or you have some sort of yellow card to prove that you've been in sort of lockdown for 14 days before coming over, or something like that. Yeah, I can see something like that. Okay. They'll have to resume, Scott. Otherwise, how are we going to rely on trade? Trade is money. It's forex.
Absolutely.
Without it, we I'm dependent on it for medical equipment, and believe me, it's the medical stuff that I need, just in disinfectants, I can't get anymore because there's just nothing left. Yeah. And how do I actually disinfect my beds and that after patients, and gloves and masks? It's cost a fortune.
Yeah.
But our rates haven't got up because you can't. In fact, some of the people that are here, they don't even pay anymore because they can't afford to pay. So, but what do? You can't show your people, give them something to let them go.
Yeah.
So this is how we see it.
Okay, now Nicholas Breaky has asked, how much scope do you see for cooperation with other minority groups and black people, especially Christians who are against the globalists?
Scott, you get Christians and you get Christians. no offense taken tonight. You can have a Christian like Ramaphosa now. He calls himself a Christian. And he prays to God every night. And then he'll go and see a Sangoma and spit blood all over his ancestors' grave. Oh my God, that's just a joker. You know what? As Christians are so segregated in any case all over the world, especially if you look at all the church organizations that you get today and that sort of stuff. Personally, Christians in you get true Christians and you get followers of Christ, if you want to put it that way. I see myself a follower of Christ and a Christian because most of the Christians in this country is where your liberals sit, and then that's most of them are all yellow. So that's where our problems have all started, you know. So if they don't catch up and wake up now, I mean, look what's happening to the Pope now. So you just got to open your eyes and see what's happening. Leave Christianity one side, leave what you do and act for yourself and support each other in a supporting role. Churches in this country and worldwide has become a business. They put money before God, and that's their God at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'm totally against it at the moment.
Right.
And they can burn me whatever they want to do. I know I'm right.
Now, Robert Williams.
I don't see Christians standing together. My Irish friend, I presume.
Robert Williams has asked, Dr. Scrooby, are you aware of UFSA? I think it's USAF, isn't it? But maybe, of UFSA as a commando skeet Pete from 1968 to 1987. I'm still available. I'll fight till I meet my Lord.
See? They just took the words out of my mouth, but I just said to you, no, listen to them. You know, those are die-hard dedicated people that you get in this country.
Yeah.
People that think like that, man. And Robbie, Irishman, I know it's you. I salute you, my brother. And we've come a long way, 36 years together. And yeah. And I'll get you back for this after the show, brother. No, Scott, you know, there is a lot of die-hard people in this country, and you know, their spirit hasn't been broken yet. Just remember that. Like mine hasn't been broken yet. We've come to the agreement with most of the veterans that we speak. I'd rather take this fight and sow the seeds for our next generation to live a proper life afterwards, than to place this burden square on their shoulders, that they sit with this racism again once we've fallen away.
Right.
So let's steer this ship where it's supposed to go. Let's join forces and let's go ahead. Otherwise, we're going to leave our problems for the next generation. That's not in my words, not in my time. Sorry, not going to happen.
Right. Now, Richard, I'm just looking at the side chat here, Gavin. Richard Lamas, could you put your email address in the side chat again? Because I'm just going to say to people, if they've got any questions that they want to just put to Boerelegioen after this live stream, or after they watch the live stream, they can just email you. I think that's probably the easiest way for you to then just channel them to Gavin and to Isaac and to whoever else needs to be receiving that email. Okay, we've got a question here, Gavin, from Nicholas Brakey, and he says, at the end, it is not the black South Africans who are the real enemy, it's a globalist New World Order driving this agenda. Could alliances be formed? Now, I think that's similar to the other question he asked, but is there anything you want to add to that?
You know what, I suppose down the line, alliance could be formed. Personally, I would like to see that, and I would welcome it with the alliance. I do understand not all of them are bad. Our government is bad. They're rotten to the core.
Yeah.
But so is any political party in this country. Sorry, there's not one I can actually vote for. Who can I vote for? They're all here for their own, for themselves. That'd be nice to see happen. But it'd also be nice to see all the whites come together under one fondle at the end of the day. That'll also be a miracle itself. And I suppose it can happen. Why not? It's just going to make things better for us at the end of the day. So I'm for peaceful. We've all fought the wars. We've had our wars. I know we've been branded a lot of things in life with dogs of war. That's all we want in life. It's all we know in life. But war is not a nice thing. War is an ugly thing. If the people that have never, this is the other thing I wanted to stress tonight. If you've never been to war, don't talk of war. If you talk of war and you understand war, you don't wish it on anybody.
Yeah.
It's not a nice thing, because let me tell you something. There are no winners in war. And the sooner the people come together and realize that, the better. But if we have to go through and our backs are pushed into a corner, then you're going to be bitten, my friend. That's how it works. And we will give better than what we take. And that's how I see it at the present moment.
Right. Now, Wayne has put a comment in here which is really disturbing. He says, I don't know how true this is, but I'm just going to say what he said. Where to now? The court ruled against AfriForum and accepts BBE is okay for disaster funding.
Sure. Now you want to know why I'm part of that pressure cooker at the moment. Wayne, very valid thing. Because it's white, it's versus segregation. They want us down there where they were pre-94. In fact, pre-80s. It's a no win-win situation.
Right.
There's got to be a balance of the two. You need the workforce. There's certain things that need to be done. They can't always just have the haves and the have-nots as well. But the past is a past. You can't hold me responsible for my forefathers. Neither can I hold them responsible for their forefathers. This is going to become, this is part and parcel of what we got to try and get out to the rest of the world. And if the rest of the world is too thick to pick it up, then I don't know. I mean, we're in this situation. Why are we in this situation? We must go back in history. Henry Kissinger and all those guys were part and parcel of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Britain has got just such a big role to play in this whole thing. They started all this thing. They homed the terrorists. They started with all this sort of thing, and now they're trying to sit back at the end of the day and say, whoa, you guys must come, you brought it on your own. Meantime, they were the guys that started this nonsense in this country. I said, this is how we must go, and that's how we must do it this way. And we have the proof of it. I've got some guys that are very well jacked up within the historical side of things that can tell you exactly what happened here from day one when first man appeared onto this ground and on South African soil, and where everybody came from and who was here first and who was second and what the king's names were in those days and things. And this thing is totally blown out of proportion. The other countries have come into this country, they've raped this country without flipping Vaseline, and now they're just sitting on the outside saying, well, have what's left over.
Yeah.
And now we got to fight for it, and they move away from it because they know if they caught out, which there is documented proof, they're going to have to fit the bill for a lot of things. And if they will, well, I don't think they're ethnically sound enough to be able to do it or to own up to it, and they never will.
Right.
Because it's politics. Once again, it's politics. And
yeah.
It's the same people that's saying these mouthpieces that we got here in this country. So what can you do, Scott?
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
I've got a question here which I think is aimed at me, and I'm not sure who's actually asked it. I think it's Edward Abrahams. He says, what does Dr. Gavin think of AfriForum's liberal stance? And he goes on to say, Scott's interview with them this week was very disappointing. I personally thought that interview went really well because we learnt a lot about what's going on behind the scenes. And I have to say to you that my role as basically an alternative news media site is to talk to all different groups, because that way we understand where they're coming from and we can look at forming alliances. So I'm sorry if you thought the interview was very disappointing, but that's the reason why we're very happy to talk to people like AfriForum. So getting back to you, Gavin, he says, what does Gavin think of AfriForum's liberal stance?
Okay, like I've been saying the whole interview through, I like to be moderator. I always say, be part of something than be part of nothing. You know, AfriForum, I can't talk much about AfriForum. The little I do know about them, they've done a lot of good. And I don't want to run anybody down. I'm here as an ambassador, and I'm going to put my best foot forward now, Scott. And I want to say, no matter who you are, what group you belong to, you've started something. You're part of something, and you're part of something greater than what you are, united. So I'll never run them down. And I've had this conversation many a times, and I think it's ethically wrong of me to be able to say, and now I'll find something wrong with them. I don't actually, because I know too little about them. So if I knew more about them,
right?
Yeah, that's why I said in the beginning, I concentrate on my own politics. Their shit politics is their politics. I don't want to involved with their politics, because then I've got mine and theirs, and then we sit with a problem. So I'd rather just keep it on a straight and narrow. They are part of an organization. At least they're fighting somewhere, and they're taking people to court. How many of these other organizations are, they're taking things, but where's the evidence? I don't see it. It's all hearsay. It's pie in the sky. Show me and we'll talk.
Yeah.
I told you I'm going to be crucified after this thing, but it's fun. I can stand my ground. I'm big and ugly enough to do it.
Well, I have to tell you that I endorse what you say. I think that AfriForum are certainly keeping the ANC and the EFF on their toes, and I think that's good, because no one else seems to be. Now, Vitboer asks, ask if Boerelegioen is active in the Western Cape and where.
I'd love to answer him. I can't. If he's on yet tonight, he'll be able to answer.
Okay, so
remember, I'm part of the alliance with Active TagMed that's come into an organization.
Yeah.
And part of other organizations as well. So we got one umbrella, which is Executive TagMed, but there again, that's internal politics, where they are and what they are. Even if I did know, I wouldn't be able to talk about it, because it's not for me to talk about. If I talk, I've got to talk about all the groups in this country, not one specific, you know. So I've got to be very careful where I trade at the end of the day as well. So please bear with me, and please excuse me for not being blunt, and not answering the question what they want to hear. But I'd love to answer them, but I can't.
Okay. Now, Chris Lessing has said, and I think we've covered how and what is ETMG, but if we haven't, if you could give a whole broad outline on that, because Chris Lessing, I think he must be part of your team. He says ETMG also have our own reaction teams, also give training, greetings. Chris Lessing, 2IB OPS address, and then he's given his email address for application forms. So have we covered ETMG in enough detail?
Well, ETMG is, as I said to you in the beginning, Executive TagMed Group. Chris, thank you, my brother. I really appreciate it. We've just channeled the discussion away from the heavier stuff. Chris, by the way, is our 2IB, and he's Lieutenant General, and a fantastic general at that, if I may put it that way. And I do agree. Our ethos and that sort of stuff is to get people trained up as best you can, and when we do provide a service, we provide a highly professional service to whoever needs us. And as I say, is we are divided in a number of sectors where we have our training formation, we got our tactical formation, we got a reaction force, which is part and parcel of assisting Fentus Post the other day. And we're still on the ongoing, every day we're on the ground hearing what's happening. We have, for argument's sake, Boerelegioen, which is assisted to assist us. And we've got AfriForum, which is on the ground as well at the moment, assisting us in all ways that need to be done. So, yeah, talk about that. You know, there's 3 groups that have come out and said, we're here to assist. Beautiful. Love you guys. That's how we look at it at the moment. And we are then got the clinical formation, which I'm part and parcel of. And your training formation is broken up onto quite a few things, where we got your instructors going out providing training for the different areas, be it tactical reaction force, tech med side, the medical side, and the reaction force side. And that, so the training that we're giving now at the moment is highly sought after. It's doing very well at the moment, and you know, personally, we can't complain. Now, even with this lockdown, now we're running a course now, level 1 to 3, and we're running part of the TechMed course on a distant learning sort of thing while we're on lockdown. And you know, we're trying to score and get the people up and running while they're there, to get their brain moving, get their brain matter going. We've got a lot of people that are medically qualified. They've done a medical course maybe 10 years ago. You know, the knowledge is still there. All that we've got to do is just refresh it and put a new thing in. It's like, for argument's sake, taking a paramedic off a street and putting him in a war zone. He'll kill his patient and himself. And everyone will say, but they're highly trained. Yes, they're highly trained. Medical is medical. But there's a little thing that we call CUF, which is called care under fire.
Right.
So if you first, you got to know, as a medical staff within our organization, you are a soldier first, you're a medic second. The only time you withdraw from a fight is when it is safe and you've got a patient that needs assistance. But otherwise you will continue fighting until such time it's safe, and then your people will do a proper perimeter for you, and then you'll be able to work in your patient and then to catch a vacuum out of that situation. And this is where the whole core of everything comes in. And we've got fantastic guys that do the training. Old veterans, our heads are here on the ground, we level-head, you know, and this is how we shoot. None of us are hot-headed, and none of us, we're all cool, calm, and collective, and believe me, we're getting the results at the end of it. And it's working fantastic. So, Chris, my 2IB, that answers his question.
We've got a couple of questions.
I want to put it up with Richard Lamos. He's taken the initiative to come forward tonight, and all my guys are, and I'm proud of you guys. Yes, it's beautiful to see my team stand up like that. It's just it gives me the will to fight again, Scott. You don't understand what it does to me.
Yeah,
that cool calms me. My team has got we got a very, very special team.
Fantastic.
And if you came into our family just for a few little minutes, you'll understand what we're talking about. We are within harmony with each other, if that answers your question.
Well, maybe maybe when there's a new South Africa, I'll be safe to come back and visit again. But I think right now, if I came back to South Africa, the ANC would be waiting for me. So I'll wait until there's a new South Africa.
We'll smuggle you in, Scott. We'll smuggle you in and we'll smuggle out, and we'll look after you. Don't worry about that, my brother.
Fantastic.
You've got enough supporters in South Africa. I'm sure you've got enough supporters. You've got lots of supporters.
Yeah.
I can't see them now, but yeah.
Okay, now someone asked about Professor Ruth Hall, who's the one who writes policy for the ANC government when it comes to expropriation of land without compensation. She is from a firm or NGO called PLAS, that's as in farm in Afrikaans, and I think her website or their website is plas.co.za. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, and you'll find out all about her on that website. Now, Corbus has asked, what is the doctor's opinion on the Sina prophecies, Sina van Rensburg?
Sina van Rensburg, well, you know, when I started executive TechMed, I was very confused one day, because a guy came to me and he said to me, and I'm sure he's listening tonight, all of them, and they said to me, he has the man with the brown suit. And I thought to myself, what on earth are you talking about? Are you smoking something? Whatever the case may be, the brain pop. And I couldn't figure out what he was saying. And there again, I've left those prophecies to the people that know, obviously I know about him, and I know about his prophecy, and the night of the long mesa and that sort of stuff. But you know what? My Bible also says to me, and I don't mean this wrong in any one way, but you know, I've got to follow on the task at hand. It's very difficult to follow someone's prophecy that's died a long time ago, where my Bible tells me there's going to be a lot of false prophets. And I try and walk my road, stick to my Father at the end of the day, my Heavenly Father. And like I said, also with the politics of other groups, I couldn't be bothered with their politics. You know, I've got politics of my own, and I've got to portray that ray of sunshine out to the other groups to say, well, look how well they're doing. Look what they can supply, what they can be. Let's be part of it. I hear what he says. A lot of them might hear what I'm saying, might not. But a lot of what I say, there's truth to it. There's a foundation to it that we can work off. And we can grow together and become this big, luscious tree in this country. And take back what is rightfully, I want to say ours, but what we need to take back from. We can't carry on, we're carrying on now. Sinus van Rensburg, I know a little bit about him, Scott. The things I have heard, I've listened, but yeah, I would like to see them. If it's going to happen, it will happen. If it doesn't, well, I don't live in the past in that way. You know, I think we've got to let the past go and concentrate on what is happening from here on onwards, because this is where history is going to be made, and this is where you've got to draw the line and say, from here on, no more. We're not going to allow ourselves to be pushed down like this anymore, regardless who we are. Scott, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I've got to say that while you were talking there, I got a request to wear my EFF hat, which is a red beret, and it's got stapled onto it everything for free. And
Please send me a picture of that. I have to see that.
It'll be in the video. But
Awesome.
I always when I wear it when I'm doing a video, I always sort of grab it off because of the fleas. So I had to do it very quietly, so I was sort of pretending I was scratching my hair from fleas. Okay. Got a message here from Jami Williams, and it's actually two messages, or two questions rather. He says, does Boerelegioen offer any training in terms of firearms, basic training and courses? And do you offer training for weekends or long-term courses? Let me know how I can find out. Thanks. Now, I guess the best way is to contact Richard, just by email, isn't it? Richard Lammers.
Correct. Richard will be able to answer you, but yes, we do. Executive TACMED does do training. We do weekend training. We do one-day training. We do a lot of shooting. We have accredited people. We have a shooting range, which is a long shooting range with a range official, and everything is done by the book. And we can even do competencies for you. We can even do licensing for you. We have the people with the necessary skills within our organization. That's part of our organization to do it. And yeah, if you're nearby, we can do it. Accommodation we can arrange for you. We are busy jacking up our training facility now to provide more accommodation for our guys. And we're not just talking about any accommodation. We're talking about at least a 1-star for the time being. And food will be provided. It gets 2 meals given today, a brunch and a dinner. And believe me, you're well looked after when you're here, and when you leave, you're leaving with a world of knowledge. And we haven't actually had a bad feedback yet from now, to be on touch with. So everyone's very happy, and yes, we can accommodate everybody.
Right.
We fit in with your needs then, and that's where we've got to be very supple enough to do it.
Okay, on a slightly related question, Chase Tanner's asked, what about the new gun license registrations?
Oh, Daniel, you're asking me a very difficult question. You're asking a doctor about weapons. Oof. There's ways of getting things done, and if I look at a lot of these people today, these fly-by-nights, if you want to put it, they all come out of the woodwork, and my God, they're like worms that come out at night, and they just feed. They can make a buck or two, and they just put everything down. They've got the course out of you, the money out of you, and they've got all this, and they send away for stuff, and then it gets sent back, and you've got to... All that I can say is, regardless what the gun laws are gun laws. And a lot of the old gun laws are still in place today. And like for argument's sake, if you got an old gun license, that thing is still valid today. Regardless what they say, it is still valid. It was issued by them. How did they make something unlawful that they issued in the beginning? And if you have the right people, and I know we got the right people because we've screened our people for months in advance to do the right thing. They come to you, they give the proper motivation, they give you the motivation, they channel the stuff through for you, and they ensure that you get your stuff when you need it. So a lot of people, the organizations will throw the back at you and say, but you didn't divulge this or didn't divulge that, but it's their own shortfalls, unless you did lie about something. But yes, there's ways and means of getting through it, and it's a tedious thing to go through, but it does bear fruit at the end of the day if you're just patient and being honest.
Right.
Honesty is the key. I hope that answers his question.
I've got a question from Philippe van Velbergen, and Philippe is a very well respected doctor in the UK and a good friend of this channel, and he asks, any use for Celox chest seals, hemostatic agents, plasma expanders? How do I get a supply to you?
You are my blessing, my friend, and my colleague, I salute you for that too. Those things are so expensive in this country. There is no ways that we could even, we've got of it. Believe me, we got. But it's insane. We're talking about 10 sachets at least, because no one can not even I can afford the stuff anymore. It is darn expensive. You can get hold of me on at Gavin at dnamedicalgroup.co.za, and I'll be always grateful for you for that. Genuine, you'll be an executive member with us for free of charge as well. I take on anything like that for my people, and if I can equip my people with better stuff, and my friend, I don't know what more to say. You're gonna make a grown man cry now tonight, and
should we get Philippe on? Philippe, are you happy to come on live stream and just talk directly with Gavin?
Please.
Let's get you on.
Philippe. Hemostatic agents, the stuff what we dream about, man. I teach people how to put wounds together with duct tape, and pads and tampons and stuff like that, and it saves life. I'm not worried how the patient looks like when he gets to me. As long as he's alive, I'm happy. I'll fight the rest of the fight. So, and with my team and with.
Hi, Philippe, are you here? Hello? I lost you there for a second, Gavin. I'm just trying to get Philippe on. Are you there, Philippe? I can see the little circle going around his... I think he's on. Yes, he is. Hi, Philippe.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You're speaking to Gavin.
Hi, Gavin.
Fantastic, and you, but yes, you've just made my whole day today. Regardless how tough it was today, you've now gone and put the cherry on the cake for me and made me the most happiest man on the southern tip of Africa.
I have been offered twice a whole stack of these things and antibacterials as well, all Celox. And she emailed me again. And I have to reply to her, and they basically have the plugs, the chest seals, the hemostatic agents. We also have Rio Macrodex, which is the plasma expander in drips. And Poliocortef, which is what I use a lot with patients for shock.
Yes. I'm familiar with it.
So vials, injection vials. You've got any use for those?
Definitely, we have. Definitely. You must know we're trying to make do with what we got here at the moment. It is very difficult for us to get what we really need. And if we do get it, it comes at such a cost. And how do we absorb those costs at the end of the day when our patients themselves don't even have the money to pay for a normal consultation? But no one, I've got a policy, no one comes in, and I know my wife's going to beat me to a pulp tonight, but let me put it this way. There's no one that will come into my surgery and walk out here without some sort of medication or something that can help them just ease their pain or whatever the case may be. So, Philippe, whatever we can get, I don't need money, but if I can get supplies, man, you can't believe how I'll be eternally grateful, friend.
What is your position with bomb bandages? Yeah, they used to be really, really useful. You can do all sorts of things with them. Good old-fashioned bomb. We're making do with these new era bomb bandages. They're all right, but they're not the proper stuff. I mean, if you compare them to the new Israeli stuff that's come out now with the IFAC system, it's fantastic. We can just dream about things like that. The old-fashioned bomb bandage, we don't even get. The old-fashioned crate bandage costs such a fortune now. We just can't afford to buy it. We just got to use a comforting bandage, what it's called. And I'm picking up a great problem with it because if you don't bandage the patient himself and allow for swelling and that, these guys come back with complications. They've gone and bandaged themselves, and they pulled the bandage so tight that it's become a tourniquet. And you're sitting with problems among problems. How do we get this stuff through to you without getting booked at customs? That is the big problem, and it is controlled. So I need to send it to
Philippe.
An approved address. That is the problem.
Philippe, can I suggest that you get on email and discuss that rather than do it here?
We can. Would you mind giving Gavin my email address?
Absolutely. I certainly will, Philippe. That's fine.
See how I can wangle this and get it through to him.
Fantastic. Well, let's do that.
Philippe, you're my friend for life. You're my brother for life.
My respects. Doing a great job. My respects.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Coming from you, I really appreciate that. It's touched me big time, man. Really, it is.
We'll work on this and get them down to you. Find a way.
Thank you, Philippe. Much appreciated, my friend. Much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Okay, Philippe, I think you've got another brother, a South African brother.
Oh yeah.
This stuff saves serious lives, Scott. It's basically what you use for gunshot wounds and deep cuts and stuff. And
right.
It's state of the art. It's brilliant, and we don't actually have a use for it.
Sure. Well, whatever you want to dump and whatever you throw in your garbage bin, just send the garbage bin back because it looks like there's gold in there, please.
We'll work on it and get it down to you.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Philippe, man. Genuine. I don't know what more to say, my friend. I'm speechless.
Gavin, I'll give you Philippe's email address in the side chat of Skype later, and you guys can just continue the conversation and discuss what to do.
Yeah, I'd love that, and I'd also like to hear what the latest techniques is and stuff like that, especially DSRs and that sort of thing.
Well, Philippe is He's like our medical doctor here on the channel. He's very, very highly respected. He's also a channel hero. We got about a handful of channel heroes, and Philippe is one of them. Philippe, is there something you want to say?
No, that's fine. I'll work with pleasure with Gavin and see what I can do from this end. The main problem is not giving him stuff. It's actually getting it into his hands.
Yeah.
But we'll make a plan. Boer maak 'n plan.
A boer maak 'n plan. No. Okay. So.
I'll ask people that are educated than me.
Let's get on with the questions. Marlene has asked, Dr. Gavin, how should we handle expired firearm licensing problems?
Oh, yes, you guys are burning your questions and I'm not actually the pro one. Ask me medical questions, guys, please. What happens when that thing gets fired and it hits a person? Then I can talk. It's very difficult for me. I can't answer that question, Scott. I can give you the basics, and otherwise I've got to call one of our weapons instructor in that him give all the know. Sorry, man.
The best.
There you found out tonight. You see, doctors always have flipping all the answers, eh?
Well, the best thing they can do is contact Boerelegioen, and someone there can tell them what to do.
Yeah, or any group, most of the groups that are out there today, all the work groups and that sort of stuff, man, we're always willing to get in and help
Right.
people. And within the organizations, you've always got somebody that has to be qualified in that, and they can definitely help. If you can't get anything, please join a group. Be part of a group, no matter what group, join it. Please. That's for the greater good at the end of the day, and you'll have personal satisfaction out of it. You'll have that inner peace to know that you're part of something, that if the popo hits a fan, that you've got somewhere to go. You are prepared.
Right. Now, Groen Rizzler has asked, Loving Life, can you please start a forum that things can be addressed properly rather than in a comment section? Well, Groen Rizzler, we actually do have a forum. If you go to Loving Life Live, one word, .co.za, you'll find there's a forum there. Lots of people are participating, and you can write a letter 5 pages long if you like. So please get involved. It's right there. Okay, now John Smith has asked, Gavin, what do you think of secession in South Africa?
There again, you're asking me political questions, but okay, it's fine. I'll try and answer as best I can, and I'll give it you short and sweet. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, so what? Bear in mind, if it does take off and it works, it's a fantastic thing.
Right.
But that's why I agree. I'd rather the people that have taken the initiative, that have started something and gone through a process which they think are right. So I'm not going to shoot them down. I'll never shoot them down. They're trying something. And because a lot of people push ahead with something and which they feel is right, they'll get ridiculed on the side, and you'll always hear pros and you'll always hear cons. I say, look inside you and what do you want out of it? If you want it to work and you want it to be a success, then be part of it. But don't stand on the outline and look in and say, well, I'll be a draadsitter on this one. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, that's it. There's more people that's more educated than me that can actually give a better answer than me. But that's, in a nutshell, that's what I would say. Be part of something than not. Give it a try. Why not? What have you got to lose?
Fantastic. Now, I've got a question here from Yami Williams. I don't think I've asked this question yet. It's, do Boerelegioen work with those who left the country, or is it just for those within the borders?
No. You must understand, if you've left the country, you're an expat. You're part and parcel of this. These roots that you were born into here are in you. You'll never get it out of you. If you want to belong to an organization within our South African border, you're more than welcome to, my friend. The only thing that we ask you from our side, that you believe in the Holy Trinity. If you believe in the Holy Trinity, you're my brother, you're welcome in my group, and I'll accept you as my brother. And that's how it works.
Right. Okay, guys, look, we've been going for 2.5 hours, and I just want to say Thank you so much, Gavin. It's been a really interesting evening. I think that we've achieved a few really good outcomes. I'll certainly put those doctors in touch with you, so that you can contact them. I'll just make you a few notes here. Okay, and also we've got Fiona. I've got to put in contact with Isaac, and
Yeah.
there was one other. Of course, I've got to do Philippe and yourself. I'm just making notes here.
Yes. My brother from the UK.
Your brother from the
My
UK.
brother.
Now, is there something you'd like to say to the people watching the live stream right now, or who might watch it later? Some like a statement you'd like to say to people.
Yes, Scott, thanks for allowing me this opportunity, please. And I think you've heard me bubble on within the groups and the organizations. And I put this out to all my brothers out there that belong to groups and that don't belong to groups. Firstly, let's target the ones that don't belong to groups. Be part of something, guys. I'm not here to tell you to join me or whatever the case. Medical field might not even be in your area or your comfort zone, but we belong to something. We have to make a stand, and if we don't make a stand, nothing is going to happen. We have to have a lot of voices together to start screaming and shouting to be heard. If you are part of the group, and I'm speaking now to all the group leaders out there, regardless who you are, and there's a lot of good leaders out there, very good leaders. And I don't want to mention names tonight, but my Wimpy from down Cape area is very bilingual, and he talks well. And guys, let's leave our shit behind, if I can put it that way, and just say, let's get together. Let's unite properly under one banner, God's banner. And I feel this on my heart tonight, as these words are not coming out of my mouth, but I need to put it through to you. Let's unite under God's banner, under His rule, and we shall reign. But as long as each and every one of you guys are going to fight and push and shove, we will not accomplish nothing. Then we are not even the paper that we are written on in our own groups. As executive TACMED, I'm trying to be the goodwill ambassador, and I'm trying to put my best foot forward. I'm prepared to take that step forward. Are you prepared to take that step with me? And the guys that don't belong to groups, are you prepared to put your foot forward and belong to something that is greater than us all? And I leave you with that tonight, my brothers and sisters. And Scott, once again, thank you very much for allowing me on your show. It has been great chatting to you, and I hope this is one of many to come. And I hope we can chat online and offline in future.
Sorry, guys, I I had my mic off. Okay, I just want to say once again. Let me just go to here. Go to my cam. I apologize, guys. I had my mic off and I gave you a whole long spiel, but I'll start again. Okay. First of all, I want to thank the moderators for the fantastic work that they do. You know, they really are appreciated. We couldn't hold these live streams with comments without them, because we always get trolls. And I want to thank all those who've actually come and been part of the live stream tonight. You know, it's lovely to have a big group of people putting their thoughts down so we can share those with the guest. Don't forget, tomorrow night I've got a live stream with Paul Colditz, who is very senior in education in South Africa. We're going to be talking about where education is going in South Africa, so that if you've got kids who are at school, I think you'll find that really interesting. And then on Saturday night, we've got Teresa, and Teresa's going to be talking to us about patents. She's one of those people who spends her life investigating patents, and she's got some stuff that's going to make your hair stand on end, and including the unlocking of the patent with the numbers 6, 6, and 6 on it, and more information on that. All right. Finally, I just want to say to our guest, to Gavin. Gavin, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here, and we'll always welcome having Boerelegioen on. So if any of your leadership, Isaac, yourself, or Richard's often in my email box, top man. If any of you contact me and say, hey, there's something happening we'd like to promote, just let me know, and we'll set a night aside for you guys so you can do that. All right, with that, I'm going to sign off the broadcast and say, take care, everybody. Please be safe. And from my guest, Gavin, and myself, good night, and catch up with you tomorrow night with our guest then at 8 p.m. Bye for now.